Let's call this meeting of the State of New York Mortgage Agency Mortgage Insurance Committee meeting to order. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'd like to request a motion and a second to call to order the December 10, 2015 meeting of the SONYMA Mortgage Insurance Committee. The motion and second recorded will be used for any action items before the committee unless specific items call for a different vote or unless any committee member wishes to record his or her vote differently. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
The minutes of the meeting of the Mortgage Insurance Committee held on November 12, 2015 shall be deemed approved absent corrections from the directors.
The meeting will move to the Mortgage Insurance Committee program action items. Item 2, resolution approving 50% mortgage insurance on a $11,160,000 HDC permanent first mortgage loan for 1345 Rogers Avenue, Brooklyn, Kings County.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. This loan is one of 10 loans on the agenda this morning. The aggregate loan amount is $67 million for 1,157 affordable and workforce housing units. And of the 10 loans, 7 loans representing 672 all-affordable units are in Brooklyn. This first loan is for the development of 123 all low-income units on Rogers Avenue. The development entity is the Doe Fund. This will be the second loan that we have insured for projects controlled by the Doe Fund. It's a heavily subsidized project. In addition to the insured first mortgage, there's a $6.8 million HPD second loan, an $8 million HPD third mortgage, and $5 million from the Homeless Housing Assistance Corporation.
By the way, given the fact that it's a Doe Fund, targeted population is?
Half of the units will be reserved for formerly homeless tenants with HIV or AIDS. The insured loan amount is $91,000 per unit, which equals only 19% of the project's total development cost of $472,000 a unit. And the project would break even with a 10% pro forma vacancy and collection loss or an 11% increase in operating expenses.
Okay. Questions?
Then the resolution before the committee is approving mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for 1345 Rogers Avenue, Brooklyn, Kings County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried.
Item 3, a resolution approving 50% mortgage insurance on a $5,950,000 HDC permanent first mortgage loan from Monsignor Jarka Hall, 268 to 270 Bedford Avenue, Brooklyn, Kings County.
This project comprises the mod rehab of an all low-income building for 64-unit building for seniors. There is a Section 8 HAP contract covering all of the units and a New York City Article 11 tax abatement. And the development entity is controlled by St. Nick's Alliance. This will be the third loan we've insured for projects controlled by St. Nick's Alliance. And they are also the developer of the project, item 6 on the agenda. The insured loan amount is $93,000 per unit, which equals 32% of the project's total development cost of $293,000 per unit. And the project would break even with a pro forma 5% vacancy loss.
Any questions? Questions?
Then the resolution before the committee is approving mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for Monsignor Jarka Hall, 268 to 270 Bedford Avenue, Brooklyn, Kings County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the motion is carried.
Item 4, resolution recommending the approval of 100% mortgage insurance on a $7,290,557 Enterprise Community Loan Fund Incorporated permanent first mortgage loan for CHS, year 15 portfolio, Brooklyn, Kings County.
This project comprises the mod and, in some cases, substantial rehabilitation of 33 separate walk-up apartment buildings in Brooklyn. There is $27 million in existing HPD subordinate debt, and there will be a new $1.9 million HPD subordinate loan. And the project will receive a New York City 420C real estate tax abatement. The development entity is controlled by CB Emanuel and Shinda Management. And this will be the sixth loan we have insured for entities controlled by CB Emanuel, but our total exposure is only $18 million. The insured loan amount is $20,000 per unit, which equals 18% of the project's total development cost of $114,000 per unit. And the project would break even with a 6% 6% increase in pro forma operating expense, or a 10% residential vacancy rate.
Questions?
The resolution before the committee is recommending approval of mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for CHS Year 15 portfolio, Brooklyn, Kings County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried.
Item 5, resolution approving 100% mortgage insurance on a $2,976,993 list permanent first mortgage loan for Kings Covenant, 9 scattered site buildings in Brooklyn, Kings County.
This comprises the mod rehab of 74 units. The development entity is Bridge Street Development Corporation. This will be the fourth loan that we have insured for entities controlled by Bridge Street Development Corp., but our aggregate exposure is only $6.5 million. The insured loan amount is $40,000 per unit, which equals 24% of the project's total development cost of $165,000 per unit. And the project would break even with a 10% pro forma vacancy and collection loss, or a 7% increase in operating expenses.
It's Bridge Street. Are all of the projects, all the buildings in Bedford-Stuyvesant, or?
They are all in Bedford-Stuyvesant, I think with the exception of a single building in Park Slope.
Any questions?
The resolution before the committee is approving mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for Kings Covenant, 9 scattered site buildings in Brooklyn, Kings County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried.
Item 6, resolution approving 100% mortgage insurance on a $3,716,294 Citibank permanent first mortgage loan for 695 Grand Street, residential condominium unit, Brooklyn, Kings County.
Both items 6 and 7 on the agenda are for this same project, which represents both the residential portion of the development and the retail portion of the development. This loan is for the development of 51 all low-income units. It's an HPD PLP project, as there is a $3.3 million HPD second mortgage. There'll be a 20-year Section 8 project-based Section 8 HAP contract covering 8 of the 51 units, and a 420C real estate tax abatement. And the development entity is St. Nick's Alliance, which was the developer of Monsignor Jarka Hall. And St. Nick's Alliance was founded in 1975 to stem disinvestment in the Williamsburg-Greenpoint section of Brooklyn.
Okay, I'm going to treat items 6 and 7. We'll just take them, we can't take them together.
Sure, as long as we recognize they're two separate resolutions.
Correct.
So the resolutions before the committee are approving mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for 695 Grand Street, the residential condominium unit, and 695 Grand Street, the commercial condominium unit in Brooklyn, Kings County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motions are carried.
Item 8, resolution recommending approval of 100% mortgage insurance on a $12,420,000 CPC permanent first mortgage loan for 796 East 163rd Street and others and Bronx County.
This project comprises the mod rehab of 19 scatter site buildings comprising 334 units. It's another HPD PLP project. There'll be a new HPD $4.5 million capital loan and the assumption of $22 million in existing HPD capital loans. There's a New York City Article 11 tax abatement. The development entity, Exact Capital, is controlled by Michael Callahan and Craig Livingston, who are experienced developers of affordable housing. The insured loan amount is $37,000 per unit, which equals 29% of the project's total development cost of $130,000 per unit. The project would break even with a 9% increase in operating expenses or an 11% vacancy rate.
Any questions?
The resolution before the committee is recommending approval of mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for 796 East 163rd Street at all Bronx County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. The motion is carried.
Item 9, resolution recommending approval of 100% mortgage insurance on an $11,450,000 CPC permanent first mortgage loan for 1 South Street, as known as 441 Ohio Street, Buffalo, Erie County.
This project comprises the development of 78 workforce housing units in Buffalo. There is no regulatory agreement. However, the units are affordable at between 86% and 150% of the Buffalo AMI. There is no subsidy in the project other than $2,950,000 in New York State brownfield tax credits, and the project will receive a 485A real estate tax abatement. The development entity is controlled by David Franjoin and Samuel Severino, who are experienced Buffalo-based developers. This will be the second loan that we have insured for entities controlled by Mr. Severino. Our total exposure is $30 million. The insured loan amount is $147,000 per unit, which equals 84% of the project's total development cost of $221,000 per unit. And the project would break even with a 15% pro forma vacancy loss or a 40% increase in operating expenses. And there is $2.8 million in developer equity in the project.
Questions?
The resolution before the committee is recommending approval of mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for 1 South Street, aka 41 Ohio Street, Buffalo, Erie County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried.
Item 10, a resolution recommending approval of 100% mortgage insurance on a $7,300,000 CPC permanent first mortgage loan for 20 Park Street, Albany, Albany County.
This is an interesting project. It involves the adaptive redesign and conversion of a vacant former state office building into 73 workforce housing units. There is no regulatory agreement. However, the rents will be affordable between 73% and 86% of the Albany area AMI. There's a 12-year real estate pilot agreement with the City of Albany. The insured loan amount is $100,000 per unit, which equals 82% of the project's total development cost of $122,000 per unit. There is $1.6 million in developer equity in the project, representing almost 20% of the total development cost. The project will break even with a 17% pro forma vacancy loss or a 30% increase in operating expenses.
Questions?
Did they buy the building?
Yes.
For how much? Yeah.
Yes. $2,250,000.
Development cost per unit is very low.
Yes.
That would-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions? No.
The resolution before the committee is recommending approval of mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for 20 Park Street, Albany, Albany County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried.
Item 11, resolution approving 100% mortgage insurance on a $3,420,000 CPC permanent first mortgage loan for 930 North Putnam Avenue, Lindenhurst, and 8 other scattered site properties in Suffolk County.
This comprises the refinance of 3 existing CPC loans on projects on which 100% of the debt service is paid by OMH. And at the behest of OMH, the owner-operator of the projects, Hands Across Long Island, which is a well-regarded provider of supportive services, has asked CPC to refinance the loans. And we have the authority on projects financed by OMH and OPWDD to ensure loans that are straight refis without a rehab component. And this,
And this is just a rate arbitrage?
it's a rate arbitrage, and the refinance will lower OMH's annual debt service cost by $81,000.
Good thing to do for our friends in
OMH.
our government.
Yeah.
Nice list.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
The resolution before the committee is approving mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for 930 North Putnam Avenue, Lindenhurst, and 8 other scattered site properties in Suffolk County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. And the motion is carried.
Item 12, information items.
I'll just note that the mortgage recording tax for November was $15.6 million. The previous month it had been 19.6, which is anomalous. It's been running about 15 million a month.
Any idea how does that compare to the previous November?
Yes, the previous November was 18 million, which likewise was anomalous. So far through the year to date, this year the aggregate is $128 million. Last year it was $108 million, and the prior year it was $92 million. So I think we're on track to do about $190 million in surtax. So far, so good. Yeah.
Anything else? No further business. Call for a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the meeting is adjourned.